Okay, we have a SWAT team here in the city of Albany. They are dispersing what appears to be rioters at this point. We'll bring you all the coverage that we can. Looks like they've got a horse patrol up there. We're on the end of Arch Street in Albany, where a little while ago a lot of people basically stormed a police station, broke out police car windows, got a unknown fire in the street here by a SWAT team vehicle. Got people throwing things at the police here on the end of Arch Street. All kinds of window smashing here at the former Department of Motor Vehicles. Police over here behind this armored vehicle in riot gear in the city of Albany. They put up a fence. They're making their way to disperse. SWAT team vehicle just coming over the fence here, breaking through that fence here in Albany. Horse patrols are making their way through that fenced area, and they're pushing basically rioters away from the Arch Street police station here in the city of Albany. All sorts of window smashing here and violence continuing to erupt. We're right in front of the Capital City Rescue Mission, and I'm going to make my way over here to a safe location in front of the mission, get myself into a spot here where it's safe to bring you continued coverage here. Still unclear what that fire is in the street. City police and state police are here. They've worked to push demonstrators, rioters at this point, back away from the Arch Street police station. We'll bring you continued coverage. I heard that they smashed up a Channel 6 news vehicle. We've got some intense protesting going on over here behind me. We're on Pearl Street. This has been going on for about 3 hours. If you're just logging on to the video, we're in the city of Albany, where protests broke out outside the Arch Street police station about 3 hours ago. Protesters managed to break out a window of a Albany City police vehicle. Reporters at the scene at that time. Okay, it appears to be they're shooting tear gas here. Maybe. I see there's bottles going in at the officers there from the crowd. Yep, tear gas coming out at this point from that Albany police armored vehicle. An intense crowd down here in the city of Albany. Okay, more bottles going in towards the police. They're loading up that presumably tear gas rifle again. That's been going off a number of times now. I'm right around the corner from the Arch Street police station, where they've moved the crowd down here onto Pearl Street. The Arch Street police station is just up around the corner here. Things got so intense there that Channel 13 and CBS 6 Albany were running live feeds in that area, and those live feeds have since stopped, and they have pulled away from that area, essentially becoming unsafe. Got police officers there on those 4 large horseback with a fence in place here on South Pearl Street. Things still being thrown here at the officers. Probably about 150 people behind me, I would say, at this point, as more Albany police vehicles move into the area here along South Pearl Street. Lots of stuff here being thrown. Explosions taking place. I'm going to hunker down over here by the Capital City Rescue Mission. Okay, they've got some safe passage there for those police vehicles moving into that gated area. More stuff continuing to be thrown at that armored police vehicle as the protesters here in Albany have moved back. I'm just blocks here from the Times Union Center on South Pearl Street in Albany. Things appear to be much calmer here than when I first arrived. Tear gas was being fired out of that vicinity there where you see that armored Albany police vehicle. Several rounds of tear gas. One of the tear gas rounds could be seen here in our video coverage at the beginning of the video. Police put this fence in place and posted those 4 horseback there to essentially move protesters away from the Arch Street City of Albany police station, where things were intense there. About 3 hours ago, protesters managed to smash out a window of an Albany police car. They stole, from what I understand, some equipment out of there, including a police jacket. And they were throwing rocks at officers who came out of the station. They posted officers on the roof of that station there, the Arch Street police station. And you can see some of that coverage earlier on the WNYT Channel 13 Facebook page. Our friends at WNYT had a video live there for some time until it essentially became unsafe, and they pulled out of there. Channel 6, CBS 6, Albany, the same. You can see some video coverage from that situation from earlier on the CBS 6 Albany Facebook page. Police officers here moving along in riot formation. Horses now coming out of that gated area. Riot police moving into position here outside what I know is the longtime Albany Department of Motor Vehicles. It's an Albany County vehicle. I don't believe DMV is here any longer, but there are Albany County offices in this building here on South Pearl Street. You've got about maybe a couple dozen police officers there with those riot shields in place. Some of the officers holding those shields and basically maintaining a line here, not allowing any of these protesters that are behind me any further south on Pearl Street. South Pearl Street. Things being thrown at the Albany Mounted Unit at this point. Looked like a plastic water bottle. Okay, now there's some running over behind me. Now they've set a fire over here. They've got a mini mart here with a fire that they've just set. Person's just retreated out of that area. Some intense flames starting to kick up out of that dumpster area there at this point. And there was some, I had to duck there, there was some retreat going on. Tons of stuff here. Glass bottles now being thrown at the horses. Truly unfortunate situation here with those horses backing up away from that flying glass and debris that's coming toward them.
Get in there. It's open.
Tons of glass being smashed. The dumpster fire over there is starting to kick up a little bit better. No sign of any Albany Fire Department vehicles down here on South Pearl Street. You've got a number of protesters back here behind me. I'm in an area that's at least safe for now. I'm kind of hugging the brick structure here next to me, the Albany City Rescue Mission. Police officers here maintaining this line on South Pearl Street. So far, being attacked by a number of glass bottles. Some more officers there getting ready to presumably take persons into custody. You can see some of those plastic quick tie handcuffs in the hands of officers as they gear up from the rear end of that. Okay, the horses a little nervous from that, but they're still maintaining their position there. They backed up a little bit. Fireworks continuing, presumably some M80 type fireworks being thrown from just behind me. I'm in a safe spot here around the circle of a building. Some more junk being thrown. Officers moving that fence, making their way back inside that fence perimeter with those horseback patrols. Got the line of officers maintaining that parking lot there. Looks like some planning going on by white-shirted members of the Albany Police Department. Usually officers in white shirts here in Albany are at least of the rank lieutenant or above. State police also down here. A lot of smoke. Okay, that's definitely some tear gas. And folks, if you've never experienced tear gas, oh, good God. Probably. All right, taking a break here. Stepping back away from that area, that tear gas, absolutely intense.
You got it too? I ran.
Did you get it?
It hit me.
Wow. Once it hits you, it's a lot like pepper spray.
That tear gas.
For the past couple of
the door, I'm like, okay, I gotta go this way.
Yeah, it's time to time to move back. We've got some fire here erupting into the street as I continue to clear my eyes and my breathing passages. I've had to take my mask off. I don't really think there's any point in wearing that down here at this point, especially with this dangerous tear gas in the air. Unbelievable sensation to experience. Eyes definitely watering. I did go blind there for a couple of minutes, but we're back here. Can everybody hear me? Please give me an idea if you can hear me. And then I'll continue the coverage if somebody lets me know if you can hear me. Okay, waiting to see if anybody can hear me. All right, my friend Jason Vosberg, my friend Matt Chrisman, Jacob Fleck letting me know that you can hear me. I want to shout out to my cousin Todd Brower. Todd is the
They told that nigga to come through this shit, bro.
Todd is the mayor of Lake Street in Mayfield and the owner of Drew Dogs and More, Elmwood Avenue, across from the Gloversville Dunkin' Donuts. Good evening, Todd. Let me know if you can hear me. Okay, they're lighting on some garbage in the street here on fire. The protesters a considerable distance away from the police, who are
no justice, no peace, no justice, no peace, no justice, no peace.
Okay, there you have it. Some official demonstrators here in the streets of Albany. Got a tractor trailer stuck up here, and that's not a good situation. All right, we're going to make our way towards this tractor trailer. This is not a good situation, folks. The driver has exited the vehicle and he's running, and they've taken over this tractor trailer. Unbelievable situation is the driver fleeing from that tractor trailer. The police maintaining their position quite a distance from here as the protesters have overpowered that tractor trailer at this point. I'm going to make my way across the street and try and give you... I'm going to get the hell off the street. In fact, there's things flying around. I just don't want to get hit by anything. I want to see what they're going to do to this tractor trailer. This is unbelievable, folks. This is right here in the city of Albany. Violence first starting at the Arch Street police station here in Albany, now making its way down along South Pearl Street. We're just blocks away from the Times Union Center. Just to give you an idea of where we are at this point, the tractor trailer coming down through South Pearl Street. Obviously the poor driver having no idea. I want to shout out to my friends Maria and Zach from High Rollers. I appreciate you guys watching this. You guys reminded me to be safe. I'm going to do that. We've got somebody that appears to be attempting to take over that tractor trailer and move that vehicle. The police in that position, they might better get the hell out of the way. This could be bad. Doesn't appear that this guy knows how to move this tractor trailer. Thank God. Thank God. That could have been a disaster. Okay, nobody inside that tractor trailer at this point. Folks, if you're just logging on to the video here, we've got fire in the street. We've got a police perimeter just about a block away. We've got several explosions here. Looks like protesters may be attempting to light that tractor trailer on fire. A lot of smoke coming out of that vehicle right now. An unfortunate, truly unfortunate situation for this tractor trailer. Got a lot of violence going on over here behind me. That poor tractor trailer guy fleeing from that vehicle. Folks, please continue to let me know if you can hear me. I need to know that my microphone's working okay. This is Pearl Street in Albany, folks. If you're just logging on to the video, this is South Pearl Street. Sarah Lynn writing in, get the National Guard there. Yeah, that's probably a good idea. This first started about 3 hours ago. Okay. We have armed members of the Albany Police Department here shooting tear gas, getting this crowd to move away. Member up there at the top of that vehicle with a rifle in place. He's firing that rifle as Albany police officers make their way here along South Pearl Street to get the crowds pushed back. I'm going to push back out of this tear gas situation so I don't get another breath of that. That was truly hell, folks. They're looting this tractor trailer at this point. They've opened up the back door. There's tons of glass here, tons of debris. They've looted that tractor trailer. Looks like it's full of milk. Some tear gas there just going off right past my feet. Again, a truly unfortunate situation here in the city of Albany with those tear gas rounds continuing to be shot from a tear gas rifle. They've looted this tractor trailer fairly well. Looks like it was carrying milk. This poor guy had no idea. Intense flames going on. I'm going to move back a little bit. You can see, wow. You can see that tear gas going off over there. And that's effective, folks. That's effective for clearing the crowd. You can see the crowd here, the angry mob, has dispersed well for the most part behind me, because getting a breath of that tear gas is unbelievably painful. Kimberly Waters writing in, this is sickening. It is. It is. It's truly unfortunate. Somebody asking me to get a name on that truck. I'm going to try to do that. Dawn Bellinger Platt asking me for a name on that tractor trailer that was basically being looted until a time when Albany police officers pushed this crowd back. You can see most of the inventory from this truck has been stolen or ruined. No damage here to the truck. Okay, police now moving forward. Lots of tear gas coming here. There's a nice cartridge there. I'm going to get the hell away from it because, as I mentioned, that's painful. Lots of explosions continuing to occur all around me. Police officers now maintaining a perimeter and entering that truck. Got a aircraft, presumably a police aircraft, at a very low altitude here over the line of officers. Holy. I've got to step back, folks. Armored police vehicle making its way forward as they continue to push this angry mob back along South Pearl Street. More tear gas coming. Well, I'll tell you what. I'll tell you what. These police officers here are doing an excellent job here on South Pearl Street in the city of Albany. They've moved this crowd not only away from the Arch Street police station, but they're moving it north along South Pearl Street. And the farther north that they move this, the less people that there seem to be gathered. So this is an effective disbursement here. This could have been a real bad night for the Albany Arch Street police station if they didn't do this. And I have to tell you, I'm happy to see this. I'm happy to see this response here, and I'm happy to see this mobilization. And I'm happy to see this crowd moved away from the police station. I apologize, folks, for the coughing. Oh, shit! Okay, there's a lot of glass here at the bus terminal. I don't know what the hell just came at me, but it's probably time to get the hell back. I presume that was a rubber bullet being shot at the person that you saw throwing things at those officers. That rubber bullet appears to have penetrated the glass in the bus stop here, smashed it all out. More tear gas making its way north on Pearl Street here. A number of tear gas rounds coming along Pearl Street. We've got somebody with a bullhorn. Gentleman behind me makes a valid point. There's kids in these houses, and they've got tear gas going through this neighborhood. This is a very residential neighborhood, but it is what it is. Police officers making their way to Westerlo Street here on South Pearl.
And I'm gonna call you back.
We're about 5 or 6 blocks from the Times Union Center. We're going to stand by as long as we can.
Yeah, y'all gotta go somewhere else with that shit.
Police officers maintaining that perimeter, pulling back just a little bit here at Westerlo Street and South Pearl, not far from the Capital City Rescue Mission in the intersection of South Pearl and Arch Street, where that city police station is, where this all started about 3 hours ago. I'm tucked away here on a front porch stoop with the area resident here now. We seem to be in a fairly safe spot. We'll continue to film this for as long as we can. Got a large crowd on the hill of Westerlo Street.
I'll come back. I gotta go to the house.
And folks, if you're just logging on to the video coverage, earlier, about 3 hours ago, this first all started in front of the Arch Street Albany police station, where, from what I understand, a CBS 6 vehicle was heavily vandalized. The news reporters at that Arch Street Albany police station stopped filming. They stopped their Facebook Live coverage. I arrived here shortly after that. And at the time that I arrived, this was all moved onto South Pearl Street, well away from that Arch Street police station. That armored vehicle there maintaining its position. I can't see the officers on horseback at this point, but we can still see that tractor trailer there with officers in that area of that tractor trailer. I did see an officer go inside that tractor trailer. Did see persons try to move that vehicle.
I'm suing these niggas.
And fortunately, it didn't appear that they knew how to do that. Tear gas, very, very thick here, still in the air off Pearl Street. And if you get hit with tear gas, I want to tell you what the experience is. You go blind, and that in and of itself is frightening. It goes into your face, into your pores. It burns your face with some severe pain. Your eyes water, your nose runs, you can't breathe, and it's frightening. Okay, there's some intense crowd chanting going on above me on Westerlo Street here, just off of South Pearl. We've got another mob moving north along Pearl Street. Just want to let everybody know I'm okay.
No peace.
Thanks, Jason, for the hoodie.
Round 2, let's go back, man. Fuck this.
There we go. Okay, things are happening now.
See this shit?
A lot of tear gas coming in. People are running again, retreating away from that tear gas.
Yeah.
Thankfully, the wind appears to be blowing
That's
away from the
what's
area
up.
where I am. People actually trying to pick up that tear gas being fired by police moments ago.
Gas man. That's what I'm talking about.
This guy's got a gas mask on.
That's right. That's right, gas mask. That's right.
Kind of wish I had one at this point. Whoever he is, he's a smart guy to have that
I
on.
need water. That's a whole fact. That's a whole fact.
I don't know what prompted me to do it, but I popped a Propel Black Cherry Water in my back pocket when I got here, and I'm glad I did because
No for an answer, boy.
makes it a lot easier to be able to breathe.
Y'all out here shooting gas in the residential districts where people got their kids at. No peace.
This is in Albany on South Pearl Street, not far from the Times Union Center. I happened to be able to bring you this coverage, so that's what I did.
No peace. Hey, yo, y'all got water? Yeah, you need some water? I got you.
Taking a safe haven here with a resident up on a stoop, so gentleman has been able to co-film here with me, and he hasn't chased me off of his porch yet, so we'll continue to stay here. We've got the gentleman in that gas mask moving that tear gas away from those folks up on Westerlo Street. Got a presumably a state police helicopter in the air just over us as tear gas continues to come down the street from that armored Albany police vehicle. I'll tell you, if I hadn't gone through pepper spray training in my prior work in life a few times, I would have been pretty screwed up with that situation, getting hit with that mess. But I kind of knew what it was, so just hurts for a minute. A couple minutes, actually. Unfortunately, all of the news reporters have left this area, so there isn't too much coverage here tonight. There was some earlier. If you want to see how this all started, you can check out the CBS 6 Facebook page or the WNYT Facebook page, and you can see some Facebook Live coverage outside that Arch Street police station here in Albany, and you can see how this first came about 3.5 or so hours ago. We've got some traffic here moving into the area, and it's not entirely clear who it is or what they're doing, but police officers moving along Pearl Street here again, moving forward. Got a man in the street there with his arm up, It's not clear who he is or what that's about, but I do see tear gas moving towards him, so I'm not going to go over there. Intense few moments shortly ago as that tractor trailer came upon us in the area where this first started to develop. That driver fleeing from that tractor trailer, running down the street as fast as he could, persons overtaking that vehicle immediately. No military presence here tonight, folks. Only Albany police presence that we could see. As this unfortunate situation continues to develop, it seems to be a more peaceful protest at this point. I haven't heard any more glass breaking. I haven't heard too many more examples of direct violence here other than yelling, which most of that has been protesting, which people have a right to do. Got a lady here coming through in an Escalade. Hopefully she's not going to have a problem getting through. She appears to be by herself. We've got three gentlemen, it appears to be gentlemen, standing in the street. One in the center got his arm up. I'll take a walk over there and try to get an idea what the hell that's about. I've got to be cautious of that. Appears to be they're calling people in. This bus station completely blown out now from that rubber bullet that whizzed right by me a little bit earlier. Police didn't give me a problem when I first started filming here. In fact, I remained right up close to them in the beginning of this video for quite some time. Got some persons here gathering as the intensity continues to develop. Got a man over here with some sort of weapon in his back pocket. As the Albany police armored vehicle maintains its position here in front of that tractor trailer that was heavily looted about 20 minutes ago or so. The tear gas in the air is thankfully clearing up. I can continue to bring you the coverage here from this protest.
Stand in solidarity!
Okay, we've got a considerable distance here as protesters maintain their position here at South Pearl and Westerlo. This gentleman claiming he'd been shot in the face by police here with presumably some of that tear gas. Protesters, some of them now moving towards police with that armored vehicle, probably not going to be in their best interest, but they're continuing to move forward here nonetheless. Looks like there's going to be some more looting on that tractor trailer. Got an intense situation here behind me.
No peace.
Took a call from my friend Jeb Rowledge at News 10 a little while ago. Jeb, if you're watching, I'm sorry I couldn't take the call. Unfortunately, I don't see any news persons down here at this point.
Let's go.
Got a couple of guys rolling a dumpster here entirely sure where they're going with that, but presumably another fire situation. Okay, some more tear gas making its way towards us.
Don't get scared!
Or, without the visible smoke, I'd say that was a rubber bullet, which you sure as hell don't want to get hit with that. It blew out the window of that bus stop. It whizzed right by my leg. Gentlemen here appear to be setting a picnic table on fire. We're here in the city of Albany, New York. If you're just watching, logging on to this video, we're on South Pearl Street, not far from the Times Union Center, where rioting or protesting, depends on your point of view, has broken out in an intense fashion. You can feel the tension here as these angry parties continue to chant angrily. Fire here in the street. Not a lot of luck getting that picnic table to light, but persons here continuing to throw some flammable items on that picnic table. Police officers here beginning to form another line in front of that armored vehicle with that riot gear in place. And we'll continue to try to bring you that coverage. Got the trio of gentlemen here moving that picnic table towards the tractor trailer.
They move, we gotta move! If they move, we gotta move! They move, we gotta move! Let's go! Let's go!
This is the first night that I've seen or heard of protesting here in Albany. Unfortunately, if it goes to another night, I fear it's only going to get worse. Right now they're trying to light that tractor trailer on fire. Appears to be the goal here.
What's the goddamn line? Let's go! Let's go! What's the goddamn line?
Okay, they're getting that picnic table up inside that tractor trailer, where that's going to be a hell of a fire, unfortunately. I don't know how these guys are going to get that table up in there without getting badly burned, but they've got it as close as they can. They're throwing some plastic items onto that. That's going to take off relatively fast with that burning plastic. Pallets now going onto that table.
Yo, get out that truck!
Those guys gotta get out of that truck.
Get out the truck!
Hey, B, get out the truck!
Hey, yo, no name! Y'all fucking bugging! Yeah, Taylor. Fuck, man. My fucking truck is coming.
It's easier to just flip the camera around and give you a look at what's going on behind me.
They got insurance. It's all good. Products are insured too, so they're coming up over.
Mark the police!
Okay. These guys are going to light this truck on fire. It's taken off good now. As soon as it comes in contact with those rubber tires, it's going to be a recipe for disaster.
That truck's going up for sure.
That truck's about to fucking break.
Yeah, I'm about to back up.
If you're just logging onto the video, folks, we're here in Albany, New York, where protesting started about 4 hours ago in front of the City of Albany Police Department on Arch Street, off of South Pearl Street, not far from the Times Union Center. Police officers eventually moved those protesters away from the police department and onto Pearl Street. They've got 4 large police horses, an armored police vehicle from the City of Albany Police Department, and a line of Riot police who are carrying a number of riot gear equipment items, including a lot of tear gas. I'm actually walking on some coffee grinds right now. I was crunching something underneath my sneakers, trying to figure out what it was. Matt Keegan writing in from Spectrum News wants to use my video. Matt, if you're watching, you can feel free to use the video, as well as my friends at News 10. More than welcome to use any footage from our camera here that you'd like. I know it's hard for you guys to get anybody down here. CBS 6 and WNYT at least had some reporters here earlier. From what I understand, the CBS 6 vehicle was damaged. I don't have that confirmed, but I was informed that by someone who's been watching the coverage on CBS 6 Albany Facebook page. You can see some of that video on the CBS 6 Albany Facebook page from earlier when this first started. You can also see it on the WNYT News Channel 13 Facebook page. Both of those organizations have since vanished from this area. I don't see any reporters down here at this point, but this fire, folks, now is taking off. It's incredibly intense as protesters and persons here in the street continue to throw more flammable devices towards that tractor trailer. No sign of a fire truck at this point, but this is going to be a hell of a blaze. Looks like some Molotov cocktail. I'm going to get back. There's an Albany police armored vehicle moving our way, and they're going to make a dash here to get people out of the way, and I sure as hell don't want to get hit by a rubber bullet. Okay, got an officer on top of that armored vehicle. He is armed and he's firing. I'm gonna run behind this bus stop.
The fuck, man? Hey, fuck you!
Okay.
Fuck!
I got hit by a rubber bullet in the leg. If you think tear gas is pain, rubber bullets are pretty painful too. I was trying to avoid that situation, but they got me. ASAP. That fire getting pretty intense at the back of that tractor trailer. Okay, that armored vehicle making its way forward again. Definitely don't want to be within the line of sight of that guy on top firing those rubber bullets. Good thing the stuff that I'm carrying was in my other pocket. I'll tell you that. Okay, a lot more gunfire happening here.
All right. I'm sorry.
Don't go to that smoke. Holy shit. As long as you don't go in it. Apologize for that, folks. There's a canister there. Looks to be all out. Try to find another safe location where they can't see me to shoot me again. A lot of firing coming out of that armored vehicle at this point. A lot of tear gas, one right after another, it seems. Oh, yeah. Makes it a little hard to bring continued coverage, but I'm going to stay down here as long as I can. A lot of flames down in that area of that truck. Now, it looks like, excuse me folks, looks like there's something else on fire. Water, water, water. Water all the time. All right. Just give me a moment here and we'll try to figure out what's going on at this point. Thank God there's a breeze. So much tear gas at this point, I would presume there's probably nobody around in the center of West Willow Street here. Okay, we've got a heavy fire behind police officers there, with that tractor trailer now presumably engulfed. You've got flames about 35 feet in the air. As soon as the tear gas clears, we're gonna get back out into the street and see if there's anybody out there at this point besides the Albany Police Department. Heavy fire now going up to the above the rooftops of some of these buildings. No fire truck in sight. Still not okay to go down the sidewalk here at Westerlo. There's so much tear gas down here. I'm going to try to make my way up and give you a look. I do hear an approaching siren. All right, here comes our friends with the armored vehicle. Definitely don't want to be seen by them. Lots more firing coming out of the top of that vehicle. I'm going to attempt to give you a look at that fire on South Pearl Street. Got members of the Albany Fire Department here making their way along Westerlo. An intense fire. Heavy black smoke, as presumably that tractor trailer is now completely on fire. I can see again, so I'm going to bring you the best coverage that I can without getting hit by our friends at the top of that vehicle who already hit me once with a rubber bullet. I have to find that guy and thank him at some point. I don't mind, whatever. Unbelievable amount of fire going on over there. Got police officers approaching the rear of that armored vehicle with some sort of plan here in place to keep people back away from that burning tractor trailer. Firing continue to happen here out of the top of that vehicle. He's loading back up. We've got an ambulance making its way into the scene here with an officer on the side of it. Still no water at the back end of that tractor trailer fire. Get behind the house here where that guy can't see me. Firefighters now on the scene of this fully involved tractor trailer fire on South Pearl Street. As a line of police officers there in riot gear maintain a perimeter away from that burning tractor trailer, as Albany firefighters on the other side presumably make their way to extinguish that blaze in the center of South Pearl Street. I want to say thanks to my friends at News 10, Jeb Rowledge over at News 10 Albany. We'll let you guys know I'm in a safe spot, and I'll continue to bring you what I can here from this scene. You're more than welcome to use footage from this Facebook Live video as long as I can keep it going without having to shut it down. Okay, some water going on to that tractor trailer fire now. Thank God. You can see the flames there shooting well above the tractor trailer in the center of South Pearl Street. That tractor trailer, folks, if you're just logging on to the video, that tractor trailer came along South Pearl Street maybe about an hour ago. The driver, quickly realizing what was going on and immediately fleeing from the cab of that vehicle. You could see him running away from that vehicle. Officers now making a move along South Pearl Street in a riot gear formation. We're at South Pearl and Westerlo. If you wonder where we are, we're about 4 to 5 blocks south. We're south of the Times Union Center, the same street, South Pearl Street. Thanks for letting me stand in your yard.
Hey, not a problem, bro. You can doing your job, have fun, bro.
Thank you, guys.
Fuck it, bro.
It's unbelievable. The tear gas is so bad.
Right?
Right, but they think that's supposed to scare somebody.
You need a water or something?
I'm okay, thanks. I got one right in my back pocket.
These punk motherfuckers think that supposed to, you know what I mean?
Yep.
But they know it's going to irritate your eyes and shit. They know that.
Yep.
They're like, oh, well, fuck it. We can spend the night throwing this shit all night instead of being in the precinct. Why not? My girl said it's a riot in Manhattan.
Is that what's going on?
Yeah, Manhattan and Brooklyn. Yeah, Brooklyn got the same.
Oh, man.
They was fighting downtown Brooklyn. It's like that, same situation.
I have not heard of this happening in Albany before. This is...
Oh, well, protests turned into this. We got some disagreements when it comes to a peaceful protest. So this young generation ain't trying to hear none of that shit no more. So these generations is way more aggressive.
Right?
Chicago, they beat up police inside of a fucking house.
Is that right?
Yep. You can look up on your phone and find a social distance party. They came in there, involving them. Jersey too, they beat up the police.
Okay, the fire crews here on South Pearl Street have got that tractor trailer fire out at this time. There's still something large burning into the street, but that tractor trailer, fortunately at this point, is out. Those flames were shooting a good 40 feet into the air, well over the rooftops of these large structures here on South Pearl Street. That line of police officers maintaining its position here at South Pearl and Westerlo. No protesters in the area that I can see. Tear gas finally clearing up. I can finally bring you a little bit better coverage here with our Facebook Live video.
This how America feel about us. See this? So-called America.
Still got some flames going off and some loud fire alarms going off in that vicinity, presumably Scott air packs being used by Albany firefighters. I'm going to back away from the folks here that are walking along the sidewalk just so that I don't get hit again by our friend up on top of the armored vehicle doing his job. Okay, they're waving this car through. Yep, not a good sound. When you hear that and you don't see smoke, that's one of those rubber bullets that are very painful. Okay, that was a louder explosion. Sounded like it was a little bit more towards the Times Union Center. And I say towards, I'm about 5 or 6 blocks away or so. So we're not exactly out front, but we're down in that vicinity here in the city of Albany, New York. Okay, we've got a helicopter in the sky right above me with a spotlight that's been shining around, lighting up the ground around me. Police officers maintaining that shoulder-to-shoulder riot perimeter here as firefighters from the Albany City Fire Department continue to extinguish that tractor trailer blaze. Looks like it appears to be completely under control at this point. Just a small flame on the back end of that trailer at this point. And that was a nice tractor trailer, folks. If you saw the beginning of this video, an unfortunate situation for that tractor trailer driver who just drove along South Pearl Street, quickly realized what was happening, ran from the cab of that vehicle. And it's a nice tractor trailer. It's a newer model vehicle. It was carrying milk and coffee and some other related items there. Looters quickly took to the back of that truck and took some of it. I don't think they stole it. I think they were using it to more throw at the police. Police officers here, administration, giving out some instruction at this point. It looks like they're going to be probably moving forward. Or they're sending protesters back. Got a trash can on fire here on the corner of Westerlo and South Pearl. Got members of the sheriff's office here joining the Albany police officers who are here. Again, a recap of this situation here in Albany, New York. About 4 hours or so ago, protest happening at the Albany City Police Department. That protest eventually turning unbelievably bad, with news reporters fleeing from that scene, videos quickly stopping, coverage quickly ceasing. A CBS 6 vehicle rumored to me to be heavily vandalized at that scene. Eventually, police officers taking control of that vicinity in front of that police station and moving protesters down the street from that location and onto South Pearl Street near the Capital City Rescue Mission. Eventually moving protesters using tear gas and rubber bullets, which I was unfortunate enough to experience both, moving those protesters north along South Pearl Street from the Capital City Rescue Mission, going towards the Times Union Center here in the city of Albany. No protesters here at Westerlo and South Pearl that I can see at this point, with this situation now presumably under control. The most intense portion of this protest, certainly the overtaking of that tractor trailer with that subsequent fire being lit to the rear portion of that vehicle, eventually flames going about 40 feet into the air in this heavily residential neighborhood. I'm going to stand behind these folks over here. I hate to say it, but you know what I'm thinking.
Yeah, right here, I'm talking to Karen.
A lot of glass being broken out front. Unfortunately, I'm in a position where I'm a bit barricaded. I hear and see the weapon on the top of that armored vehicle being loaded at this point. I'll make my way behind this house where I can hopefully not be hit by anything that might again come my way.
I'm about to walk around. Meet me on Herkimer. Meet me on Herkimer.
The police can shoot you right now and get away with it.
Probably about 30 or so officers there in a shoulder-to-shoulder riot formation. They've got batons, they've got riot gear, they've got helmets. Hopefully they have something to help them with tear gas, because at one point here shortly ago, if you've been watching this video, there was a lot of tear gas. More rounds, presumably rounds being fired somewhere from that police line. And thankfully I'm behind a house here where the homeowner has agreed to let me continue to bring you this coverage.
He tired too. He tired of a lot of bullshit too.
If you're just logging on to the video, we're at Westerlo and South Pearl. I'm in a location where unfortunately I can't get back out onto South Pearl without being noticed by these officers, and who knows what would happen at that point, but we're not going to take any chance.
We're going to mediate our own media. Media, word. We're going to mediate our own media. Fuck that.
Do have our friends from News 10 here joining us. Jeb, if you're watching, your guys made it down here. Looks like they're down South Pearl just a little bit. Okay.
The safest way to go is that way.
Okay.
Yeah, thank you.
Albany police officers coming over to let us know the safest way out of here, and to let us know they're going to be making a push here, and to be aware of that circumstance. Got the protesters north of this location from Westerlo and South Pearl. If you're paying attention to your map, you'll be able to see where we are. I'm going to try and get down.
Oh, yeah, you're right. Oh, you're right about it.
Oh, I'm going.
More rubber bullets coming. Okay, I don't have any choice but to duck down a little bit here. Gentleman here shooting off Roman candles at the police. He's probably going to get hit here shortly. I'm going to move the hell back. Unbelievable intensity going on here.
Got mine. Damn.
A lot more tear gas making its way north. And you definitely don't want to be a part of that.
This tear gas. Fuck you, I live here.
Gentleman makes a valid point. Unfortunately, there are children in some of these houses. With a heavy bunch of tear gas coming at me, I'm going to get a little bit more north. You can see here, folks, where we are. The Times Union Center, just down by those green lights. Moving up to Herkimer Street on South Pearl, I'm going to maintain a position up here at least until I see that line of officers begin to move in this direction. Shortly ago, a lieutenant from the Albany Police Department greeted us in the street. I was working alongside a cameraman from News 10, Albany Police Lieutenant, letting us know that eventually they will be making their way here north. Excuse me, more tear gas. It's crazy. Fortunately, I did bring some water. I can't stress enough to those of you that are watching how effective the use of tear gas is by the police to clear a crowd such as this. The pain that comes when you experience tear gas is pretty severe. I'd say a 9 out of a 1 through 10. We're here at the corner of Madison Avenue now in South Pearl Street by what used to be a Dunkin' Donuts, no, I'm sorry, McDonald's, now vacant. Got some traffic actually making its way north along South Pearl Street here. People are pouring water into their eyes and trying to decontaminate themselves from that heavy tear gas that's been fired into this crowd. Well, I'd say into the crowd. I'd rather say at the crowd, because I haven't personally seen any Albany police officers firing actual tear gas or anything else into the crowd other than rubber bullets at a point. Got a check-in from our friends at News 10 just coming across my screen. My friend Jeb in the studio. Jeb, everything's all right down here at this point. We're going to continue the Facebook Live coverage as long as I can. I'm at the intersection. If you're just checking in, I'm at South Pearl and Madison by the old Lombardo's and longtime McDonald's, which has been closed now for a while. We're just down the street, folks, from the Times Union Center here in the city of Albany. I want to let you know about approximately 4 hours ago, this all started at a police department here in Albany's South End. Protesters outside that police department eventually becoming violent, throwing rocks at officers and attacking a news vehicle from CBS 6. I haven't confirmed that information, but persons that have been monitoring this have told me that a news vehicle was heavily vandalized, and Facebook live streams from news WNYT News Channel 13 and CBS 6 Albany were both ceased and stopped. And as I was approaching, I saw reporters leaving the area, which was certainly smart on their part. We've got probably, looking around here, I'll say maybe 300 people at most, probably less than that, probably closer to 200, honestly. Tear gas clearing up down the street. I'm going to take a brief walk in that direction just to see what, if anything, is going on along South Pearl Street at this point. I haven't seen any movement by the Albany Police Department in quite a while. An Albany lieutenant coming over and speaking with me and a constituent from News 10 who was filming letting us know that Albany police would be making a move, and to definitely not be in the path of that move when it does occur. Nothing really happening at this point, other than a group of people here, maybe about 200 people at the intersection of South Pearl and Madison Avenue here in Albany, New York. If you missed it and you're just logging on to our coverage, we had a large tractor trailer set on fire here on South Pearl Street about an hour or so ago. It's hard to really keep track of time when you're doing these sorts of things, but I want to say it was about an hour or so ago. A large tractor trailer was actually set on fire by persons here in the street. They dragged the picnic table over to that tractor trailer. Got some intensity starting to come alive here on the corner of South Pearl and Madison Avenue, with a group of people starting to send a message here. Make my way across here before I get hit by a car. Don't need that. Got persons starting to attempt to overpower a bus at this point. That bus driver unable to move, with persons in front of that CDTA bus. Things now being thrown directly into the path. Got that driver now presumably calling for help inside that vehicle. She's on her phone. I presume it won't be long before the Albany police make their way in this direction. Okay, they've hit the side of that bus with something. Got that driver trying to reason with people to get out of the path of that bus so that she can move out of the way. It's a CDTA bus here. Doesn't appear to be anybody on board, but she's unable to move the bus safely. On her phone inside that bus calling for help as people block the path for her safe exit, unfortunately. She's still trying to reason with people to get away from the bus, but nobody's listening. Okay, we've got a car making an exit here on the side of that bus. Unfortunately, I don't think she's noticed that she may have some more room on the right side of that bus. State Police helicopter currently over us here at South Pearl and Madison Avenue in the city of Albany, New York. Violent protests are erupting in cities across America, folks. My cousin Jane Brower writing in to let me know to be safe. I'm okay, Jane. Okay, they're making a path for her to clear out. Hopefully she moves that bus. Let's see if she gets out of there. Okay. She's thanking the people for moving away from the bus.
Oh, she's begging me to ask her.
I don't know why she didn't move. Fireworks continuing to erupt here on South Pearl and Madison Avenue.
We just gotta get out of the road for her. She's all right. She's easy to talk to. This isn't her fault. Yo, why are you throwing fucking?
She's got a clear path. Hopefully she takes advantage at this point. She's got to get that bus out of there. We saw the fate of that tractor trailer earlier with that driver quickly running from that cab. She's got to take advantage of this situation to move the bus. Gentleman here trying to wave her out.
She's scared. Y'all gonna jump in front of her. Guys, go!
See if we can get you a tag on this vehicle. It's CDTA bus 4135. That driver back on the phone inside that vehicle. It appears these folks are going to let her go by. Nope, they're going to paint graffiti on her window. This is a situation that
Justice, no peace! No justice, no peace! No
Flip it.
justice, no peace!
it's upside down. There you go. That's better. Okay, officers are making their way in this direction. It's time to evacuate here from South Pearl and Madison Avenue. Presumably they're coming to help this bus safely get out of this area. And here's sirens coming at me now. Here they come, that armored vehicle making its way along Pearl Street. I'll give you a look at it. I'm going to get out of the road here. Some crazy intensity with traffic. Might not be a bad idea to pull out my press tag at this point. I've been kind of hiding that. I didn't want to have any fights with these people, but I'd at least like officers to know that I'm one of the good guys. Okay, they've smashed out a large window in that vacant McDonald's. They're doing some heavy vandalism at this point. Let's give you some more coverage here of that armored vehicle making its way. Tons and tons of glass being smashed out here behind me.
We need to go to cross gates.
A lot of people here talking about going over to cross gates and doing this. That would just be a bad situation. Okay, we've got an armored vehicle coming along here. CDTA supervisor making his way onto the scene here with this disabled bus. Disabled only because crowd at first really wouldn't let her go by, but another CDTA supervisor vehicle here coming onto this scene to hopefully get this bus safely out of this vicinity here in South Pearl. Mother of God.
Cover your face. You're going to start smelling it.
Gotcha. I had some of it already. It's bad. Yeah. You guys all right? You guys need a water or anything? You good? All right, I got extra water.
Thank you.
You're welcome. All right, tear gas making its way in this direction. We're going to move back. Tear gas is coming. You do not want even a little bit of that in your eyes. Folks, if you're just logging on to our coverage, we're here in Albany, New York, right near the Times Union Center here in Albany, a popular concert and
Covering your mouth.
event
Start
venue.
covering your mouth. Tear gas, cover your mouth.
Protesting
Cover your mouth and your nose.
spilled out onto the front of the Albany City Police Department South End earlier tonight, which ultimately led to Albany police officers taking control of that situation, at least in front of their station, and moving protesters and demonstrators down to South Pearl Street and north here toward the Times Union Center. What has since taken place has been a massive tractor trailer fire. Demonstrators and persons in this vicinity quickly overtaking a large tractor trailer that was driven into that area by a driver who had no idea what was going on, quickly figuring it out, exiting the cab of his vehicle. We have some coverage of that incident here on our Facebook page. Demonstrators and protesters and persons in the vicinity eventually setting fire to that tractor trailer, which resulted in a massive blaze, flames approximately 35 to 40 feet in the air, just as tall as the residential structures along the South Pearl Street corridor. Albany Fire Department quickly moving in to take control of that with the assistance of Albany police officers, the Albany County Sheriff's Office. That fire quickly extinguished by arriving firefighters. And shortly after that time, I was greeted by an Albany police lieutenant who let me know exactly where to go to be safe once they started moving. And the demonstration here in Albany appears to be possibly over with. We're here at the intersection of South Pearl and Madison Avenue, where persons were blocking a CDTA bus. Two CDTA supervisor vehicles made way to that bus. You could see the bus driver calling for help on the communications equipment inside that bus. A short time later, two supervisor vehicles from CDTA arrived here at the scene, along with that armored vehicle that you see in the center of our screen. That is an Albany Police Department armored vehicle. That bus was escorted safely out of the vicinity here at South Pearl and Madison Avenue. Several rounds from that armored vehicle subsequently fired, and more tear gas surrounding the vicinity here, with protesters and persons associated moving out of the area. We're down to maybe 50 or so people, and looking along Pearl Street here, there aren't any crowds that we saw earlier, and there doesn't appear to be any continuation of the protest effort that was very, very intense here in Albany, New York earlier tonight. This looks to be winding down at this point, with just a small amount of folks remaining in the area. They did some heavy damage to this already vacated McDonald's. Tons of glass breaking there, and windows being smashed. Fortunately, the restaurant had already been vacated by McDonald's some time ago, so nobody inside. Nothing unfortunate there occurring other than some vandalism. Okay, that vehicle making its way this way. Protesters fleeing up the street.
Don't run! Don't run!
This situation appears to be dispersed for the most part. You've got a line of Albany police officers making their way here behind that armored vehicle, which is past me now, traveling north on Pearl Street. Got a news tip coming in here to our Facebook page telling me the Times Union is being set on fire at this point. I don't know if that's true, but I've got some people monitoring a scanner. And letting me know that the Times Union, or at least a report that there's persons or a fire occurring at the Times Union. I don't know if he means the Times Union newspaper or the Times Union Center, which is just behind me here. I don't see anything going on in that vicinity, and I don't have any reason to believe there's any protesters. But we did have an Albany Police Department, that armored vehicle, make its way with a siren on north on Pearl Street here. You can see the Times Union Center from my location here. Okay, confirmation here that it was a call for the Times Union Center, which is here on Pearl Street. I don't see any smoke or flame. I do see some activity in that vicinity. I'm going to walk towards the Times Union Center. Folks, if I lose coverage, if I lose battery, I'll come back on. I've got another battery in my pocket. I know I've been on here for quite a while now. Got that armored vehicle from the Albany City Police Department making its way back south on Pearl Street to the intersection of Pearl and Madison. Moments ago it came through here in a code 3 style with the lights and siren and a seemingly emergency response, with a tip coming in to our Facebook page here from a person that I know who is monitoring communications here in Albany, letting me know that there was a call at the Times Union Center for a possible fire. That armored vehicle now has moved away from the Times Union Center, which is over behind me, and back to that line of Albany police officers and members of the Albany County Sheriff's Office. I did just get another notification across my screen that an update on that Times Union Center call. I did not happen to see it. If you want to send another message, Doug, and let me know what that confirmation was that on the frequency you're monitoring. Okay, there's really hardly anybody around at this point. The Albany Police Department has done a incredible job with this situation. They've not only cleared the situation from the front of their station, which is where this first started, the Albany Police Department's South Station on Arch Street. That's ARCH if you want to look that up on a map to see where that is in the city of Albany, New York.
Can you come here? Come on.
Albany PD confirmed no fire at the Times Union Center at this time. Want to thank Doug for writing in to let me know, as I have no way of knowing. Still got that state police helicopter circling overhead. Still got members of the Albany County Sheriff's Office down there with the members of the Albany City Police Department. Still a heavy tear gas presence here. Not as heavy as it was earlier, but still notably heavy. And folks, if you want to tune into the Broadcastify link, if you're an avid, got some glass smashing over here into one of the businesses. Not sure what that was. If you're an avid radio monitor like myself and many others, you're familiar with the Broadcastify app, Broadcastify link on the website, broadcastify.com. It's the Albany and Colony link for Albany County. Doug Halbert writing in to let me know which feed to monitor. So if you're monitoring a feed for here in Albany County, you want to click on that Albany and Colony link for Albany County, New York. Not a lot happening at this point. There was some glass breaking a few moments ago. There's really nobody behind me at this point. It doesn't appear to be anything going on north of my location here on Pearl Street, looking towards the Times Union Center here in the city of Albany, New York. You don't see really hardly anybody congregated or gathered down in that area. You see some people walking, but you don't really see any indication of a crowd or anything going on in that vicinity. Still a very heavy tear gas presence here in the air. Want to again say thanks to constituent Jeb Rowledge at News 10, keeping me informed and updated as I continue the Facebook Live broadcast from South Pearl Street and Madison Avenue in Albany at what is seemingly a diffused situation at this point in time. I will remain in the area and continue to monitor this. We'll bring you the continued coverage until such time that there's nothing left to cover, which appears to be nearing at this point. I'd like to make my way back over toward the corner of Madison and South Pearl here toward that line of police officers, but having already gotten hit with a rubber bullet, I'm going to stay over in this area. Jennifer Kuhn writing in, why the horses? Earlier, if you saw our coverage, you saw 3 or 4, in fact 4 massive Albany police horses being used at a makeshift fence in the center of South Pearl Street here in Albany that was set up by the Albany Police Department. They started to maintain a perimeter, a shoulder-to-shoulder riot formation of Albany police officers and Albany County Sheriff's deputies at the intersection of South Pearl Street and Arch Street, the bottom of the hill from where that South Albany Police Station is located, where this all first started. They started a perimeter at that location, and eventually over the course of maybe an hour and a half, a couple hours, I don't know how long I've been covering this for at this point, but they started gradually moving persons north along Pearl Street, eventually reaching the intersection there that you can see South Pearl in Madison, where persons eventually dispersed for the most part. Got a few people over here on the street and a few people milling around, but I've got to hand it to the Albany Police Department and the officers and partnering agencies that are working together with that agency. They've done their job here and they've done it well. As you can see, they've cleared the situation. I'll give you a look at some of the damage to this building. Some of these folks very angry here, writing some unfortunate things on this building and smashing out these windows here at this abandoned McDonald's. Tons of glass laying here outside this former restaurant. Doesn't appear that anybody got inside.
Can I ask you a question?
Sure.
I want to ask you a question. Did you, I know you guys are out here. I know you guys are out here doing this right here, right now.
Yep.
But did you cover this afternoon where there was 8,000 people out, about 8,000 people out here?
I didn't know about it, no.
There was about 8,000 people earlier this afternoon that was protesting. It was peaceful and everything. But we don't ever seem to get the coverage inside the city of Albany or anywhere else.
Do you want to go on camera and talk about it?
Yes,
I can put you on. Let's flip this around and you can tell us what happened. So I'm here with this gentleman who just approached me here for our coverage, and he wants to talk about what happened here earlier.
Well, one of the things I just want to say, my name is Frank Dixon. I just want to say, first of all, that this is not the city of Albany. This is not how we represent ourselves or what was going on tonight. There's a lot of angry people that this is a mob mentality. This is not the civilians that were here earlier this afternoon. There was around 7,000 to 8,000 people posted all over Facebook, posted all over social media about the protest that was here earlier. The police were escorting us. They escorted us from Central Avenue and Henry Johnson Boulevard. There was a march through Washington Park all the way to Madison Avenue, up Madison Avenue to Quail, from Quail to Central Avenue and back down. And then they came back down in front of the Capitol where there was state police there. And from there they went over to the governor's mansion. And from there they went down to the precinct on Arch Street. And it was peaceful all day long until tonight. And so I just wanted to bring the equality to this situation, that these people that are out here tonight are different than the ones that were here this afternoon that were protesting peacefully. Even when we went to the police station earlier this afternoon, we said that everything wanted to be peacefully, and it was peaceful at that point in time. So I just want the coverage to be to give the people their props that earlier this afternoon, when there was around 7,000 to 8,000 people here, okay, that it was very peaceful. Tonight's, I don't know. I live right around the corner. And what happened between that time around 5 o'clock or 5:30 when I left them to this time, a whole different group of people came out. And let me just say this. It doesn't make any sense to loot. It doesn't make any sense to burn buildings. It doesn't make any sense to damage people's property just because you're angry. That's not going to bring results that we want, the desired results that we want. And we really want the results. We need to go to the polls. We need to make sure we put politicians in office, and we need to vet those politicians. But anyhow, I thank this gentleman right here for allowing me to say what I wanted to say on tonight, because, you know, I wanted to bring some equality to what's going on here in Albany, and to have a good say that we need to step up, yes, and we need to stand up, yes, but this is what is going on here right now is not the way to do it.
Okay, I want to say thank you to you, sir. I appreciate you coming on. I'm going to shake your hand. I'm going to bring the coverage back around, and want to again say thanks to that gentleman that was just willing to come on our camera, put things into a little bit of better perspective here as far as what actually happened here in Albany, New York, a little earlier today, and what actually led up to the events that you've seen if you've been following our coverage here for the past couple of hours. What's happening now here at the intersection of South Pearl and Madison? We have a New York State Police, presumably a New York State Police helicopter going overhead with a searchlight and checking the area. It's been circling for some time now. We've got a row of Albany County Sheriff's Office deputies and Albany City police officers there with that Albany City Police Department armored vehicle in place. They're maintaining a shoulder-to-shoulder stance in riot gear, riot protection formation there. They are holding persons back from traveling any further south on South Pearl Street. We're just down the street here from the Times Union Center, a massive entertainment venue here. They host concerts. They host large events here in the city of Albany. Thousands of people are part of that location every year. We're just down the street from that location, right in the middle of the city of Albany, well, the lower end of Albany anyway, but a very residential area nonetheless along South Pearl Street. Tons of residences there. Some protesting first going on at least earlier tonight at the Arch, which was eventually moved to South Pearl Street. Some tear gas here still in the vicinity. Every once in a while I'm catching a whiff of that either into my eyes or into my nose and mouth. Unfortunately, I was wearing a mask earlier, trying to do things the right way. You saw a lot of these folks wearing masks here in Albany, which was an interesting situation. If you were monitoring the WNYT News Channel 13 coverage or the CBS 6 Albany Facebook page coverage, you saw a lot of these people outside the Albany City Police Station were in fact wearing masks, which was an interesting situation given the violence that was occurring at that city police station. Got some fireworks erupting behind me here in the street. As people start to gather here on South Pearl Street. This could be the beginning of something intensifying, or it could be just the real die-hard persons that have decided to remain in this area. But there does seem to be an increase in persons gathering here along South Pearl Street. Had a loud boom just occurring here somewhere up the hill on Madison Avenue. As I've mentioned earlier, folks, I can't express to you enough the effectiveness of the use of police tear gas to disperse a crowd such as this. That tear gas, an incredibly painful
Who's that? Was that you?
situation. Tons of fireworks here behind me. I'm gonna plug in my battery. There we go. Be able to continue our coverage here. Thanks to a Mophie battery unit in my pocket, which works well. Never had to do a Facebook Live this long, but we're going to continue to roll this for as long as there's anything to show you. Some intense pain in my leg. I was hit by a rubber bullet earlier. That was actually on camera. Another rubber bullet had just previous to that passed by me and blown out the window in a bus station. There was a large crowd gathered all around me, so it's really hard to say if they were firing at me or not. I wasn't appearing to be any legitimate press person at that point. I had a hoodie and took off all my press credentials. I really didn't want anybody in the crowd to know who I was. I didn't want any problems. So, not surprised to have been hit by that rubber bullet, but the use of rubber bullets here in Albany and tear gas, moving an intense crowd off of South Pearl Street. If you look at a map, you can see where this all first started. It started at the Arch Street City Police Station. That's on the south side of Albany. And you can see where we are now. We're at South Pearl Street and Madison Avenue. If you're looking at a map, you can see the distance that we've actually come since this first started outside that South Police Station. Earlier reports from WNYT and WRGB news stations, earlier reports indicating some vandalism to one of the police cars there. Fortunately, just a window smashed out, but still too much. You know, there's no reason for this destruction that goes on. You know, the setting on fire of that tractor trailer, that if you've been watching, you saw that in our earlier coverage here. And Channel 6 News reporting earlier, someone actually approached one of those police cars, and WNYT confirmed people actually stole some items out of that police car. What they said appeared to be a police jacket. Got that police helicopter still circling here at South Pearl Street and Madison Avenue as the row of Albany County Sheriff's deputies and Albany City Police officers maintains their shoulder-to-shoulder position at that intersection, keeping everybody from traveling any further south along South Pearl Street. Some intense coverage here in our earlier casting. There was some heavy tear gas thrown at these people, well, toward these people. I don't want to say at, I will say toward, which ultimately dispersed the situation. This could have been a lot worse. As if it wasn't bad enough, it could have been certainly a lot worse. Looking around me, there's probably about 75 or so people, if that. Certainly a dramatic difference from maybe 200 to 300 people that were here earlier. Amount of applause here for that motorcycle passing by. Doesn't appear to have anything to do with anything, just kind of got everybody here a little bit excited. Some more blasts going off down Madison Avenue here, down the hill. Unsure what that is. Albany police officers here appearing to take a bit of a break, at least from firing. There's no reason here to fire from that armored vehicle at this point, with only 50 to 75 people here in this vicinity. Nobody really Nobody really doing anything wrong at this point, doing anything at all other than remaining on sidewalks, and there's no traffic being blocked here. There's no crimes being committed here. There was some intense crimes being committed certainly earlier. Try to give you a look up the hill on Madison Avenue. Do have some persons gathered up the hill. We do have some of that chanting starting to happen here on the corner. We've got a unbelievable amount of protesting going on in cities around the country. If you're not watching the news tonight here, folks, you might want to turn on some national news coverage and monitor the things that are going on in other cities. Significance there, but I guess he felt that was something he wanted to do. Give you a look around here in the vicinity. As I've been reporting, not a lot of people here remaining at this intersection. This is the point that this crowd has been pushed back to. Again, if you're looking at a map, or if you have access to a map, you can see the Arch Street, Albany, New York police station. And if you want to look that up, you can see where that's located. And things were eventually pushed off of the Arch Street police station and onto South Pearl Street, where they were eventually pushed north several blocks. There was a long confrontation, I'll call it, that occurred at the intersection of the intersection of South Pearl and Westerlo, where a heavy amount of tear gas was dispersed. Heavy amount of tear gas and rubber bullets being fired out of that armored vehicle. That is an Albany City Police Department armored vehicle. A heavy amount of firing coming out of that vehicle. That's police officers doing their jobs, doing what they should have. If you've been watching this coverage, you saw a very dangerous situation with that tractor trailer being overtaken on South Pearl Street, that driver running from that cab. You can see that here in our video, that tractor trailer eventually being set on fire. Flames were 40 feet high in the center of South Pearl Street. They actually set that tractor trailer on fire. Albany police officers had to then overtake that area using that tear gas and those rubber bullets. They pushed that crowd out of that area and made it safe for Albany city firefighters to enter and control that scene. And again, if you were watching the video coverage, there were flames from that tractor trailer that were 40 feet in the air. Rough estimates, they were just as tall as some of those large, tall residential structures that are there along South Pearl Street. So this was certainly a dangerous situation. It certainly warranted the use of tear gas and those rubber bullets. It certainly warranted the disbursement of that crowd. Things were very out of control here in Albany. There was a ton of glass items being thrown at police officers on those large police horses. There was a ton of things that were being launched toward the police, things that were on fire at different times, and we do have some coverage of that. So certainly a warranted response here, and a surprising one. I will be honest, I didn't expect to see that sort of response by the Albany City Police Department. I'll be honest, I'd hoped to see. That was intense. I don't know what it was, but the Albany City Police Department is continuing to stand their ground with that row of city police officers and Albany County Sheriff's deputies. It didn't seem to impact them very much. Some things being thrown towards those officers at this point appeared to be just a plastic bottle, but they're maintaining their position. here at South Pearl and Madison Avenue. So again, back to what I was saying, I had hoped to see that type of response. You know, seeing a mass gathering of dangerous measures outside a city police station, certainly an upsetting thing to see. And police officers didn't waste much time with taking control of that situation. Fireworks now being shot into that crowd of police officers that are... The number of people that are gathered down here at South Pearl and Madison Avenue really hasn't increased all that much. Right around 75 or so persons that have been milling in this area. We're going to let this police officer do his job here as he gets these cars turned around. Folks, I've got to hand it to the Albany City Police Department here for standing their ground and doing their job here tonight. They've done a tremendous job of controlling this situation and taking control of the group of people here that were overpowering these streets. You saw that intense tractor-trailer fire, certainly a dangerous situation here in a largely residential neighborhood here in the city of Albany. I haven't heard any word of any injuries from any of these officers. There was a number of things being launched toward the officers, glass bottles and larger objects being launched towards police officers that were on horseback earlier. And luckily enough, there didn't appear to be any indication of any injuries. I haven't seen any EMS activity down here since I've been covering this incident tonight, which is a very fortunate bit of news to report. Albany Police Administration here continuing to clear some of the traffic out of this area as we're down to a consistent maybe 75 or so persons, maybe less than that by now. Just the real diehard persons, nobody really doing a tremendous amount of things wrong at this point. Just more of persons that are... Sorry, there's some more of that tear gas still milling around with the wind kicking up. Just more of the persons that are just staying here for no apparent reason. People that really have no business here at this hour. Albany Police maintaining their shoulder-to-shoulder stance here at this intersection, South Pearl and Madison Avenue. It appears to be that the armored vehicle is moving into the intersection for whatever reason at this point. We'll bring you some continued coverage of what's going on here at South Pearl with Madison Avenue. Traffic is continuing to move through here. They've got a what looks to be another armored style vehicle up above on North Pearl Street, blocking, I'm sorry, that's Madison Avenue, blocking Madison Avenue just above South Pearl. Officers here making way somewhat forward with that riot material. The crowd really almost gone at this point. I want to say there might be around 30 or so people that I can see in the vicinity, more so north of this location, the intersection of Madison and South Pearl, more towards the Times Union Center. It does look like there are some people gathered down in that location. Albany police officers making their way forward at this point. Got those officers on horseback, those 4 horses making their way along South Pearl Street into the intersection of Madison Avenue. Certainly an incredible thing to see those horses in the video here. Those horses all okay. Those officers on those horses appear to be okay and without incident tonight, as so many objects were thrown in the direction of those officers on the horses tonight. Police officers now making a effort here to block the intersection. And routing traffic from Madison Avenue here onto South Pearl Street, making that traffic travel in a northerly direction on South Pearl Street, at least for now. Looks like an Albany City Police canine there in the center of the intersection. Some rocks being thrown, unfortunately, almost hit me. I don't know where that came from, but I could certainly hear it right in front of my feet. There are some people across the street, not many of them, but there are some. Albany police officers appear to be making their way forward here. Not a good situation here. Okay, very angry person here, circling around in a car. Group of people, in fact, taunting the police. Okay, we're gonna keep filming this situation here to see if this car leaves the area or if they're gonna continue to taunt the police down here. They've got some objects being thrown at the police at this point, and that car is apparently not leaving from this location. Officers now throwing in some more tear gas into a crowd there, a group of people that is gathered. They've got some more of that tear gas going off. They're now shooting fireworks back at the police officers. Unbelievable intensity going on here at this point now, with fireworks going off, additional tear gas going off, as officers prepare to address the continued group of persons here that are creating a disturbance. We're going to back up away from this tear gas. Officers letting us know they're shooting off some tear gas and to get back away from that stuff, because I can tell you I was hit with some of that earlier, and it's not a wonderful thing. Nothing pleasant about that at all. As a matter of fact, it might be some of the most painful stuff that I've ever endured. Got some movement going on here. As the officers continue to get that traffic away from this intersection.
All right, let's go. Well, what are you wearing? Jake from State Farm. Jake from State Farm.
Got officers making their way around the building here to do whatever it is they're going to do that we're not going to interfere with. Got a group of shoulder-to-shoulder police officers there at the intersection of Madison Avenue and South Pearl Street. Got another one of those armored vehicles maintaining its position on Madison Avenue, just up from South Pearl Street by the old Lombardos. No traffic being allowed down Madison Avenue. That row of mounted police with those large Albany police horses maintaining their position, with all of those officers and those horses okay. Large dangerous objects being thrown at that group of officers and that group of 4 horses earlier tonight. Tons of glass breaking and larger objects being thrown into those officers and horses perimeter. We're going to give you a look at what's happening here. We hear some things presumably being shot towards the police officers that are here. Unfortunate situation with fireworks going off here. Got one of those police MRAPs coming into the vicinity here at this point. A welcome situation. Number of those loud bangs still going off, presumably fireworks. Group of officers gathered over here on the sidewalk, all grouped together. Appears to be they're monitoring a situation north of here, more towards the Times Union Center. It's unclear what that situation could be, but the focus seems to be in a northerly direction, at least with those group of officers over there. I'm going to attempt to get around this former McDonald's and give you a look at what could be going on the other side. Officers appear to be moving out of the intersection, or perhaps grouping better together. Members of the Albany County Sheriff's Office and members of the Albany City Police Department here with riot gear in place. Certainly a less intense time and a less intense bit of coverage to bring you at this moment. Hopefully it stays that way. Got some indication here coming across my screen that there's something going on at the New York State Museum, which is just up the hill here on Madison Avenue, just about 4 or 5 blocks up the hill along Madison Avenue. Does appear to be another contingent of officers on Madison Avenue with a full perimeter here now in place. I want to say thanks to my cousin Todd Brower for keeping me informed on what's going on here around me. Obviously, it is hard for me to keep track of this and do news coverage at the same time. So again, thanks to Todd Brower for your efforts tonight with letting me know with some updates that are happening and some things that are going on. I now hear a lot of motorcycle engines. I'm going to take the camera around and see if I can get safely through the former McDonald's parking lot here. I'm going to have to kind of do a bit of a walk here to do that. I don't want to go and go through that dark area, certainly, and compromise anything that the Albany City Police could be doing in that area. I'm going to give you a look here at South Pearl Street, if there's anything to look at. A lot of fireworks going off. I don't see any groups gathered, any crowds gathered here on South Pearl Street, from as far as I can tell at this point. Surprisingly, I can still walk. My leg has some pretty intense pain after getting hit by that rubber bullet, but probably gonna have a big bruise there tomorrow. But I don't have a problem with that. I don't have a problem with the use of the tear gas. I don't have a problem with being hit by a rubber bullet. You know, that's just the way it played out, and that's fine. Okay, we've got some intense fireworks happening more towards the Times Union Center. We've got a trash barrel on fire up in that area. A lot of smoke. Got Stephen Hulbert letting me know there's 25 troopers on the scene here, which is not surprising. We've got a group of people gathered up in this area and a lot of noise. I don't really know what I'm walking into, if I'm walking into anything, but there appears to be an overturned traffic sign in the middle of South Pearl Street, and there appears to be some activity occurring down here in this area. Okay, people have tipped over one of those traffic signs. They've got some garbage into the street here. They've got one of those garbage containers on fire. Okay, I'm going to say that I'm hoping there's not activity occurring at the Times Union Center at this point. Got a trash barrel on fire here in the street. So much for a county waste receptacle. That's probably going to... Surprisingly, the receptacle's actually not on fire. Albany police officers maintaining that position at South Pearl and Madison Avenue. Got a bit of a increase in the number of people that seem to be heading in this direction, the direction of the Times Union Center here on South Pearl Street in the city of Albany. Got an overturned traffic sign here in the street. Got some people down here in the area of an ATM. Got somebody letting me know there's a dumpster fire on Madison and Grand. And I appreciate the updates, folks. If you can send me a Facebook message, I can see the messages that come across the screen. I apologize, I can't see the comments anymore, but I can see your messages that come through. If it's a short message, I can usually read the whole thing. Doug Hulbert writing in to let me know that there's some sort of a fire at Madison and Grand. I think he had said a dumpster fire. Got another message coming in telling me there's some activity occurring at both cross gates and... Okay, I do see some more violence occurring down here, a couple of intersections down from the Times Union Center. It appears that this thing is by no means done. If anybody can let me know what may or may not be going on, it was not a Stewart's truck. Someone writing in, it was not a Stewart's truck that was on fire. A lot of fireworks going off back in that area where the Albany police are maintaining that perimeter, that shoulder-to-shoulder riot perimeter. Got a break-in reported at CVS on North Pearl Street. Apparently there's some things going on in several parts of this city. Got a vehicle fire being reported at Madison and South Pearl. Okay, we've got some major windows being broken out of this building. Got a fire alarm going off inside. Got some smoke in there. It's unclear if anybody's actually inside this location. I can't determine what this is, but we've got a number of windows broken out. We've got a tremendous amount of vandalism occurring here on South Pearl Street. I'm going to at least get myself across the street and away from some of this violence that's occurring. Okay, at this point we're in front of the Times Union Center here in the city of Albany, New York, as quite a large group of people have gathered and some windows are being smashed out of some businesses. We've got a fire alarm going off here at 60 South Pearl, directly across from the Times Union Center, with a number of windows being smashed out of that business, and it does appear that there's some smoke inside that building. I didn't see any flame. I've got my comments back on my screen at this point. A lot of you were suggesting to get the National Guard involved. It's probably not a bad idea. Large explosion there in the middle of South Pearl Street. Unclear what exactly that was, but that was a loud bang. A lot of traffic here. Unbelievable amount of activity kicking up. Got Aaliyah letting me know that that's a probation office. I'm going to get up on the steps to at least get into a safe spot to continue to bring you the coverage here from Albany, New York. Probably a good time to put my hood up and take off my press credential and not look like a news person. Go ahead and do that.
Told my shit. I'm gonna tell my shit. Them niggas was trying to protect white folks.
Want to say thanks to Abby for the message and let you know that I'm safe.
Oh, I throw the snap though. Niggas, they're the same niggas that get these niggas, bro. Type shit. These the same niggas. I don't care about putting a foot on a
No sign of any movement from the Albany Police Department, who still appears to be in a stationary formation at the intersection of South Pearl and Madison Avenue. A number of things going on here in the city of Albany, at least from the unofficial information that I'm receiving across my screen from those of you that are following and monitoring police scanners. I do appreciate all of the information that you folks are sending. I'm getting an indication from News 10 to
News 10, News 10, News Channel 13, and everything, nigga. We don't give a fuck about none of that shit. They killed a black person and then try to talk their shit. And then you have black people that we really fuck with trying to come at us over them. Fuck out of here, nigga. You see all the damage we done, nigga? Probation building finished. We about to finish this building right here. This gang shit. We about to finish all this shit. Yo, oh God, you niggas need to understand. It's M-O-N-E space M-A-N. It's my own man on Facebook. Nigga don't play none of that. I got my whole team riding out here right now. All my niggas, young boys, pull up. Young boys, pull up. Young boys, all my young boys pulling up. We don't care about none of that. We're shooting everything down. Yo, look at the building. Look at, walk me there. Walk me there. Walk me there. Walk me there. Let nigga know who D-Boy is, nigga. Let nigga know who D-Boy is, nigga. Walk me there, nigga. Walk me there. Boy.
I'm getting an indication to leave now.
We don't give a fuck about none of that. We don't give a fuck about none of that. Look at all that shit we did. Fuck all that. We don't give a fuck about none of that.
You're saying that's probation over there? Is that the
probation officer?
Okay.
And we don't give a fuck about them niggas.
Tell them.
Fuck them
Tell
niggas.
them.
Damn, boy. Got the homies in the shit. Got the homies in the shit. You already know what time it is. Listen, we don't give a fuck about police. We don't give a fuck about probation. We don't give a fuck about parole. We don't give a fuck about none of that. You niggas just destroyed a black person and they think we gonna be like, oh, everything all right. Ain't nothing gonna be all right, nigga. We over here maxing out, nigga. Nigga,
we turn up like we supposed
yo, y'all tear gassed me. Y'all tear gassed me. I threw water on my eyes in front of you niggas and still kept going.
Did
nigga.
you get tear gassed?
Fuck you niggas, nigga. I got tear gas and all you niggas. I threw water in front of my eyes,
can you tell
milk
us-
on my head, all that. And look, I'm still good.
Can you tell us what that was like? When
I said it was painful.
that was bad,
I
right?
said it was painful, but we don't care. Look
out
at,
here.
fuck them
That's
niggas.
what we
Look
gotta
at,
do.
look at, for them niggas tear gassing me. For them
right,
niggas tear gassing me.
I'm
Look what happened.
Yeah, I'm
Look what
looking.
happened for them niggas tear gassing me.
tax dollars.
Look at them niggas. Look what happened. Fuck them niggas, nigga.
Okay,
Fuck them niggas.
I'll let you guys get that way. I'm gonna get going this way.
Tear gas, all that shit. Look at they tear gassing right now, and we don't care. It's lit. It's 300 Bishop, nigga. It's a Bishop world, nigga. Fuck niggas, nigga. Yo, them niggas let us die, bro. Niggas letting us die, bro. We can't let us die, bro. And that's a problem, bro. People just letting it go. People, nigga had his, yo, the police officer had his hand in his pocket while the nigga was dead, bro.
Where are you
His
from?
pocket
You
while the
from
nigga was
Albany?
dead, bro. I'm from Mississippi, South Haven, nigga. And I raised in Albany.
All right,
Raised in
I gotta
Albany.
make my way back up the street. Did you
Raised in Albany. Raised in Albany, nigga.
Did you wanna-
Albany, 5118, nigga.
Did you
The
wanna-
518, nigga, is better than anything ever alive, nigga. Bow, nigga.
All right. Stay safe, man.
So, bro, yo, what's your handle?
This is Fulton County Area News. It's a Facebook page. Yep.
Yo, area news.
Yep.
We don't give a fuck about police. Look what my niggas is doing to that shit. We don't give a fuck about that shit, bro. I don't give a fuck if I'm on the news, nigga.
All right,
fuck
man.
What these niggas talking about? Fuck them niggas,
Stay
bro.
safe.
Them niggas, yo, bro. Fuck them niggas, bro.
All right, I gotta get up the street. All right, I'm getting an indication that this is the time to leave. This is a life dangerous situation. Albany has erupted in a major protest, and I'm going to take the advice of my constituent Jeb and make my way back towards the line of police officers. We've got Albany police here making their way onto the scene here at the Times Union Center. We'll bring you continued coverage here from the city of Albany, New York as best we can. But you can certainly understand that in the interest of life safety, we have to, at this point, move back to a safer vicinity, at least towards the line of Albany police officers. I'm getting an indication that I'm not to go any further along South Pearl Street and to back away from that area as things have gotten unbelievably out of control here in the city of Albany. That trash can that we showed you earlier, that answers the question, can those things catch on fire, the actual container? Well, there's your answer. It's melted down and all that black smoke, and that thing is eventually, I'm sure, going to burn itself out. Unclear what the traffic situation is here in downtown Albany with what these cars will actually do, so I'm going to stay back away from the roadway as far as I possibly can while I continue to bring you this coverage. We're going to make our way back into the safer vicinity of the Albany Police Department perimeter at South Pearl and Madison Avenue. Yes. Do you want to go on?
Jim said a pretty girl bunny on me.
That's it.
Jim said a pretty girl bunny.
All right.
Black Lives Matter.
Okay, ladies. See if I can get myself across the street here safely. Got explosions reported near Madison and Grand. Unbelievable situation unfolding here in the city of Albany. If you've been watching this coverage, and many of you have stayed glued to this, you saw a point in time maybe about 40 minutes ago that I thought this was over. I thought police had taken control of this situation, and it appeared that the crowd had dispersed. However, they apparently had only dispersed a little further north along South Pearl Street to the area of the Times Union Center. They completely destroyed the front facade of the probation department at 60 South Pearl Street here in Albany. Had a gentleman here on camera actually bragging about the destruction that they undertook there at that probation department across from the Times Union Center. Got a report here that Pioneer Bank has been broken into. I'm going to make way across the street and probably take my hood off and take my press credential back out and try and let these guys know that I'm one of the good guys. Got that continued perimeter of police officers here in a stationary position here at South Pearl and Madison Avenue. And unfortunately, I can't bring you a lot of additional coverage from the area of the Times Union Center because I just received word that it is not safe to be there. We've got some sort of a confrontation here with a couple of females and a couple of police officers here at the abandoned McDonald's. Truly unfortunate situation. Officers trying to encourage these ladies to go home, and all they can do is yell back. Okay, they are on State and Pearl heading west. According to an indication that I just received here on my screen. Folks, if you're monitoring things here in Albany, again, if you want to let me know what's happening so that I can get that reported here in our broadcast, you can send me a message here on Facebook to the Fulton County Area News Facebook page as an inbox message. And I can see that across my screen, and I can read those reports as you send them to me. All the information, of course, unofficial, but probably likely to be true as it comes in. Massive group with lots of damage being reported at State and Pearl. That is the vicinity of where that armored vehicle is heading now. You can hear it has its siren on at this point in time. with a indication here on my screen from one of you who are watching, Aaliyah Roods. I hope I'm saying that right, letting me know there's a massive amount of damage at State and Pearl. I was in that vicinity moments ago, and I was evacuated by my constituent at News 10, who is letting me know that it is no longer safe to be that far along Pearl Street. Got some lights coming on with possibly some movement occurring here by the Albany Police Department. I'm going to stay close to these guys and a little bit further away from the area you hear behind me. Got some anonymous reports coming through in our news inbox that there's going to be some planned activity at Crossgates Mall at midnight. Let's hope that that's not true. Let's hope that that's a rumor. I don't even know what time it is. If somebody wants to list in the comments, I can see the comments now and tell me what time it is. I'll be watching the comments here if you want to let me know what time it is. A large explosion behind me. That was certainly not fireworks. That was a much larger explosion. 11:48. Thank you to Stephen Hulbert for letting me know it's almost midnight. I can't believe that I've been reporting for this long. I want to say thanks to Gail Peters, and sorry about that, Abby, for also writing in to let me know that it is 11:48 p.m. and I am in downtown Albany, New York. I'm going to make my way at least a little further along Pearl Street. We've got a car coming here at quite a good speed. Looks like they slowed down. Got that fire still on the street there with that garbage bin, that big plastic bin being set on fire. If you're just logging on to the video, folks, our numbers are constantly changing. We're here in the city of Albany, New York, where a lot of unrest has unfolded. A tremendous amount of violence has occurred. We're down by the Times-Union Center at this point in time. We've got a report of a tremendous amount of activity at State and Pearl, which is generally straight ahead there in the direction that you're watching. We've got that armored vehicle, that MRAP, making its way here along Pearl Street. I'm going to make my way out of its way. Police now continuing to circle the vicinity. We've got some running coming in this direction. I'm going to get out of the way of whatever that could be. Got a lot of running over there on the corner, unclear as to what could be going on. Still got that street sign tipped over there. There's been no activity here by police, at least in the vicinity of the Times-Union Center. A lot of angry people yelling here, all kinds of things being yelled into the street. Got that police MRAP there in the vicinity of that probation building. Okay, they're going to City Hall to secure that location, according to a report that I have here coming across my screen. And I want to thank Stephen Halbert for all of his updates, as well as Doug Halbert, who is getting continued information from the Broadcastify link. I'm going to take some of this stuff off and try and look like a nobody here. You can see all this broken glass here at the probation department across from the Times Union Center. Tremendous amount of windows broken out. I can feel the stinging in my eyes again from that tear gas that continues to linger into this area. I'm going to try and make my way a little bit further along Pearl Street here. It doesn't appear to be that there's a lot of people gathered, at least at this intersection. I did get a warning earlier to evacuate this vicinity, but this vicinity appears to be a lot calmer now than it was. The only apparent damage to this area appears to be at the probation department, with that Albany County or Albany City Police Department armored vehicle there now stationary at that scene. You can see there's almost nobody here along this section of South Pearl Street. And this is a situation, folks, where people have been cooped up for so long with this COVID-19 situation. So it's no surprise to see this happening in cities around our country. It's just terrible, unfortunate situation. We've got a whole bunch of vandalism here at 36 South Pearl Street. Unclear what this business is. It appears to be an attorney's office. A lot of windows smashed out here. It looks like they may have tried to get in the front doors of this location without any success. I'm going to continue towards State Street, still getting a lot of that wind with the tear gas. Okay, they've got a warning coming out of that armored vehicle for someone to get back. Let's hope to God that nobody's trying to bother the officers inside that vehicle. We've got a car here, looks to be attempting to block that armored vehicle. They've been given a warning by police officers inside that armored vehicle to move that car, and they do appear to be complying. Don't appear to be happy about it, but they've complied. Okay, a lot of destruction here in front of the Times Union Center. No real visible sign of anybody. I'm going to make my way over towards State Street just to take a look at that, give you a look at what State Street looks like at this midnight hour as you continue to watch our coverage here in the city of Albany, New York. Taking a more quiet walk here at this point. First thought that kind of comes to mind is I don't really drink anymore, but I think maybe tonight's the night whenever this gets over with. Some intense stress going on earlier with that tear gas and the rubber bullet incident. All those people mobbed around me. Pretty unbelievable feeling to encounter. A lot of damage here to this building. It's the Morgan Stanley building here right at the corner of State in South Pearl. Got a large hole there. Doesn't appear to be that anybody got inside. At least one of the panes, window panes, appears to still be in place. This window, however, could be a different story. Well, luckily all these panes are in place. Somebody designed these windows right. Tons and tons of glass here. Tons, unbelievable amount of damage. The money that it's going to cost to replace these windows is going to be astronomical here in Albany, New York. And that's nothing, folks, compared to what's going on in cities around the world. We've got a large group of people gathered here on State Street in Albany. Is that where the action is, up there?
No, I think they was going to Homo's office.
Okay.
Yes, directly up there.
Okay. I'm
They're
going
gonna
to
start breaking shit again.
Okay.
This is a disgrace.
It is.
It is.
Do you want to go on camera and talk about this?
Yes.
Okay, let's put you on.
Where are you from?
We're from Fulton County Area News. We've got about 21,000 people
Listen,
watching.
How do you do that? Burn shit and then come over. It's supposed to be peaceful. Whatever. One black guy died. But come on, man, stop. You're breaking everything. Smashed from here down. Smashed. They're going to go up there and smash. Now, if you want to go, they're going up there. They're going to. The governor come home. He don't give a rat's ass.
Right.
Where's the police? Nothing.
I'm going to take a walk up there.
Yes.
I want to say thank you to you for
Yes.
going on camera
No
with
problem.
us.
No problem.
You stay safe, sir.
Check.
Okay, we've got an unmarked Albany police vehicle here making its way along State Street. Got quite a bit of activity here up the hill. I do see some of that tear gas coming out. We're going to try and take you into some of that and give you some coverage here and show you what's going on, as long as it's safe to do so. And I say safe like I don't hear any gunshots or anything, at least not from anybody other than police. And I unfortunately was already hit with one of those, but it was just a rubber bullet. And I say just a rubber bullet. It hurt like hell. Making our way up the hill here past one of the CDTA bus stops. I'm going to take you guys out onto the actual street portion of State Street, walking up towards the Capitol. I have no idea what I could be headed for at the Capitol. Hopefully nothing. Okay, we've got some siren activity, presumably coming off of Pearl Street. One of the Albany City unmarked police cars making its way up the hill here on State Street. Truly unfortunate amount of activity here in Albany at this midnight hour still, as police officers maintain a stationary position here outside the Albany Hilton at State and Lodge Street, if you're following along the map. Got a group of officers now coming down the hill with a member of the Albany Police Administration there holding what appears to be a rifle. They're doing their jobs. This is an unbelievable response by the Albany City Police Department, a response that I didn't expect, a response that I am emphatically happy to see here in the city of Albany, New York. No sign of any unrest here at the Albany Hilton. Presumably they don't have a lot of people staying there, I would presume.
Oh, my eye.
From what I understand, there is currently an effort by the Albany City Police Department to protect City Hall. I have that unofficially through a report here that has come across my screen. Police officers here doing an excellent job to keep traffic out of the affected areas here in downtown Albany. Okay, we're passing by the Albany Hilton following this group of police officers fully equipped with protective equipment, helmets, batons, gas masks, escorted here by one of Albany Police Department's lieutenants there in the white shirt at the right of your screen. We're going to follow along, keep the coverage rolling just as long as we can so that we can give you exactly what's going on here in Albany, New York, at least that of which we can film. Making our way over into the court vicinity, the Albany County Court, the Court of Appeals, several related county administrative offices over here. You can see the big beautiful buildings here down behind City Hall, which is over to my rear left. Got a group of angry people here straight up ahead as this row of officers forms a stationary position here at Steuben Street and Lodge Street. Okay, these guys are making their way up here real fast. Okay, we've got an indication that they're headed towards City Hall. We're going to make our way up the stairs here with this group of officers, at least in a semi-safe position. I hear a lot of yelling up here. It sounds like there's quite a few people up ahead. Unbelievable amount of violence sounding from the front of the Court of Appeals here in downtown Albany. Okay, got objects being thrown at the officers here. Got one of those armored vehicles over in front of City Hall at this point. Seems to be State or North Pearl is blocked. I think that's North Pearl down there. I don't know where it changes from north to south. I presume it's State Street that it does. But it seems that traffic is being routed up Columbia Street onto Eagle Street, which then goes up Elk Street here in Albany. A lot of pedestrian traffic as well as tons of motorized traffic with no real situation here at this intersection. We're right in front of the Court of Appeals. Got a group of about 8 or 9 officers over here under the direction of one of Albany Police Department's lieutenants here at the scene at Elk and Eagle, just down from Albany City Hall. A lot of traffic continuing up. Hopefully this might be the end of the row of cars. That street, Elk Street, eventually heads towards Arbor Hill, which is a notorious spot for criminal activity almost constantly. Arbor Hill, the Henry Johnson Boulevard area coming off of Freebie 90, I-90. Make my way over towards City Hall and give you a look at that protection effort that's going on in the area of City Hall and here at the Capitol in Albany, New York. Somebody saying they took a ride over to Cross Gates. No real situation going on over there. If there is any situations going on here in Albany, please, if you're watching this video and you can hear my voice and you're aware of something, you can send a message. Got a message coming in from Liz Terry Dolder. Liz, thank you. 787 reported closed. That message coming in from Liz Dolder. Got a group of officers here protecting City Hall at the bottom of Washington Avenue here in Albany. No apparent activity here at this location. And again, I don't want to jinx it, but I want to say hopefully this might be the end of it. I said that earlier, and chaos then ensued in the area of the Times Union Center. Some very violent chaos, in fact, at the probation department and along the South Pearl Street corridor. Haven't seen any additional messages come through here with anything else going on, at least here in Albany, New York. Protests going on in major cities all around the country. And I want to take an opportunity now to let you know where I am. There's my Blue Line wristband that I wear proudly, coming from a family of law enforcement not in support of the police. Not necessarily the incident that occurred in Minnesota. Not speaking for that at all. I'm speaking in support of the Blue Line and police officers, and supporting those that come to work every day and wear the badge. Folks, there's one incident that's occurred, and unfortunately a terrible incident. But there's so many tremendously great police officers working our front lines. Such a terrible time here in our country. Nothing appears to be transpiring here at the Capitol. Nothing appears to be transpiring here at City Hall, with a group of well-equipped officers remaining stationary here at the front of City Hall on Washington Avenue in Albany, New York. Got a tremendous amount of noise coming from up the hill on Washington Avenue, both vehicle noise and person noise. Give you another look here at State Street, just down the hill from the Capitol. You can see there the Capitol is completely quiet. There doesn't appear to be anybody at all over there, and that's a good thing. Got a fire alarm going off here at one of the buildings on State Street, as a massive police presence continues at a makeshift command post here outside the Capital Bank location. Okay, there's a lot of people running over in this area on State Street, running up the hill. We'll take you back up here to the intersection. Things being thrown into the street, things that are apparently on fire, obviously fireworks. Albany Police Department doing a tremendously good job here. Here comes that armored MRAP moving into this intersection as tear gas makes its way up the hill, a heavy cloud of tear gas. Still a large amount of traffic here in downtown Albany for this hour. A lot of tear gas going up over there by the Renaissance Hotel. Obviously a needed disbursement in that location. Got a message that there's some activity happening on Eagle Street here. Jordan Torty writing in to let me know that there's some southbound activity on Eagle Street, which is just down the hill from my location here. Unfortunately, I'm not in a position to cross this line of officers who are stationary here just below the state capitol and just over from City Hall, where a continued presence of shoulder-to-shoulder riot gear equipped officers stand on guard at City Hall. I'm going to attempt to cross this intersection and bring you some coverage from the Eagle Street vicinity. That seems to be where a lot of the stuff is taking place at this point. See if we can safely get over there. You've got a whole row of Albany police officers here at State Street, just outside the state capitol here, maintaining that stationary presence, keeping traffic from traveling down the State Street hill. They're doing what they can to cordon off this section of the city with that armored MRAP vehicle in place. Unbelievable amount of traffic here in downtown Albany at this hour. Lady just pulled up and offered some water. Thankfully, still got a little bit here. Want to shout out to my friend Adam Denmark, who was with me a little bit earlier at the start of this whole thing, down on Pearl Street near the area of the South police station here in Albany. Got a large movement of officers here now setting up a stationary position.
Hey guys, let the vehicular traffic through. Yes, sir.
Unbelievable amount of violence and unfortunate activity here in the city of Albany tonight. Catastrophic amount of financial damage to the buildings and the property here. Just the business sector alone, not to mention the residential neighborhood along the South Pearl Street vicinity. Have Jordan Torty writing in with a smoke condition occurring at the Capitol Bank here on State Street. Albany Fire Department arriving here now at the scene for that smoke condition, with a heavy presence of Albany police officers maintaining their stationary position here at this intersection. A Capitol Bank we showed you was just down the hill. Got a Albany City Fire Department administrative, probably a battalion chief vehicle first arriving here at that smoke condition. Want to thank Jordan Torty for assisting me with letting me know what's going on. Want to thank everybody for the nice comments that have been popping up here. I've had a chance to read some of the comments, a lot of the support from all of you that are watching. I really appreciate seeing everybody's comments. I'll go through some of these a little bit later on. A lot of you just very incredibly supportive of the coverage here tonight, and I can't thank you enough for that. Just one of those comments just coming through here moments ago from my friend Jeb over at News 10. And I can't thank you enough, Jeb, for your support. You've been an incredible mentor for me, and we've done some great things. Albany Fire Department arriving here at the scene for that smoke condition now. Here at the Capitol Bank on State Street. Got a ladder truck coming through. Got a full roll here for that smoke condition just down the hill at that Capitol Bank location. Albany police officers here maintaining that stationary position here, heavily geared at the intersection of State and Eagle, just outside the Capitol here, Capitol building in Albany, New York. At some point, I'd like to find out who was in the Albany Police Department's armored vehicle. That is not the vehicle that I'm speaking of. That is an MRAP, I presume from the Albany County Sheriff's Office. That is a military surplus program that awards law enforcement agencies with surplus items, and the Albany County Sheriff's Office is extremely lucky to have that vehicle. You can see that vehicle is being used and certainly well needed here in the city of Albany for the situation tonight. Probably the worst situation maybe that Albany has ever seen as far as in terms of damage and the amount of financial damage that has occurred. But again, getting back to the City of Albany Police armored vehicle, at some point I've got to find out who the gentleman was that was on the top of that vehicle. He shot me with a rubber bullet. I want to shake his hand at some point. That guy doesn't have an easy job. He fired off a number of rounds from that vehicle, and that's a police officer doing his job. That was a dangerous situation with a tractor trailer set on fire with flames that were 40 feet in the air in a residential neighborhood. That crowd badly needed to be dispersed. Again, the MRAP from the Albany County Sheriff's Office. That is a government military surplus program that awards law enforcement agencies with surplus vehicles. Fulton County Sheriff's Office is one of those agencies that has a small Humvee from the Fort Drum base that was a surplus vehicle. The Fulton County Sheriff's Office, again, one of the recipients of that law enforcement surplus giveaway. No real lead in here by Albany firefighters with the response to the Capitol Bank and that smoke condition here on State Street, just down the hill from the Capitol. No smoke visible coming out of the front of that building, but the fire alarm certainly still audible in a very loud fashion. And again, getting back to the getting shot with that rubber bullet, I want to shake that officer's hand. I'd like to contact the Albany Police Department at some point and maybe find out who that was, so that that we could have a laugh about that. Okay, I don't know if there's anything else occurring here that needs coverage. I hope that there isn't. I'm getting reports that there are some activities occurring in the Arbor Hill area. No surprise there. Arbor Hill is predominantly residential. And notorious for crime activity. The message that just came through is a text I did receive, and that is good news. I want to let that person know that we should work on that. Firearms displayed, a message here from my friend Jordan Torty. Got Albany police here racing in with one of their cruisers. Got the rear window of that vehicle smashed out. A very extremely unfortunate, unsettling thing to see, especially for myself. That is not something that I like to see by any means. A lot of fireworks going off, a lot of loud bangs, and what sounds like explosions, but a lot of the things that sounded like explosions earlier were just fireworks. A lot of the things that sounded like explosions were rubber bullets and tear gas. But those were things, again, that I have mentioned numerous times in coverage tonight. Those were things that absolutely needed to happen on the South Pearl Street vicinity in that residential neighborhood. Those were things that absolutely needed to happen. Those were welcome measures. In my estimation, that was a dangerous situation that absolutely needed to be dispersed. All right, I'm standing here at the intersection of State and Eagle. And unless anyone can send me a message with anything that is going on in my vicinity that I can readily and safely walk to, I'll probably wrap up this Facebook coverage in the next few minutes and certainly bring you additional Facebook coverage if there's any further situations to report here in the city of Albany. Central Avenue reportedly being looted, according to messages now coming across my screen. Central Avenue, just up the hill from this location, you can see City Hall there. That building in the center of your screen, they've got a large bell on top of that and a clock tower. Fascinating building. But up the hill along Washington Avenue, eventually running along into Central Avenue, some reports of looting coming from that vicinity, and some reports of some more activity in Arbor Hill. Okay, check-in with affiliates here. Information coming across my screen. Partners at News 10 in Albany letting me know that as it stands, there hasn't been any additional indication of anything else that needs coverage. I'm going to wrap up the video coverage here in Albany, New York. I'll remain in the city for some time, checking a few locations. I will certainly go to Crossgates Mall if there's anything occurring there. I do not believe that there is anything occurring. And I want to thank all of you that have stayed with me for this coverage here in Albany, New York. I'll wrap up the coverage here for now, just down the hill from the Capitol here in the city of Albany, New York, at the intersection of State and Eagle by the Renaissance Hotel. You've been watching Fulton County Area News. Stay safe, everyone.